Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Canpreneur Partners Canna News Break. A couple of items now that 2020 is finally in the rearview mirror. Although I think if we're being honest, 2021 kind of feels like 2020 never ended. It's where we are so far. But as we've said many times, 2020 was a banner year for the cannabis industry from top to bottom. And Michigan, this is a great stat. Michigan's recreational cannabis sales were up 428% in 2020. Uh, that's between January and December of last year. That's an amazing growth rate, and it's just stunning. I don't expect it to be duplicated again in 2021, but you know, uh, when you go from $9 million in sales in January to $57 million in December, it's incredible. 50% of their sales were recreational, were flower, which is pretty standard across the U.S. right now. 20% were vapes, and edible users made up about 15% of last year's windfall. Lantern reported an 89% increase in orders 2 days before Christmas and 55 increase 3 days before New Year's Day. So people were not going anywhere. They were hunkering down in their houses because of all the shutdowns. And thankfully, rather than consuming massive amounts of alcohol, which we know leads to tremendous societal problems, they decided to relax and get a little high and just chill out. So that was a good thing. Another interesting art is the edible is at 14.9%. I think we at Cannapreneur, and I think a lot of people in the industry, really are placing bets and waiting for that edible market to really explode, from edible dinners with edible chefs infusing cannabis into meals. For those of you who have watched, it was a Netflix show called, I think it was called Baked, something like that. It was a cooking show that had cannabis chefs on each week, 3 or 4 cannabis chefs on. They had a dinner. They made a 4-course dinner for these guests, and there was a winner at the end of each show. It's just fantastic, some of the things that are being done in the food market. And I think as this industry starts to mature, I think you'll see less people smoking. I think you'll definitely see less people vaping. I think the edible market, as the technology increases in the edible market, I think you're going to see that start taking a significantly larger portion of the industry. It's a less obvious way to use cannabis. It's you can control your portions, control your THC levels a lot easier with the edibles than you can with other forms. And I think that it's going to become more acceptable, and people are going to start using more edibles. So, interesting stats. So, if we're figuring about a 15% this year, I think we'll be at about 20% next year. The edibles taking a larger share each year of the market. Now, whether they take that share from vapes or take that share from flowers, I really don't have a prediction on that, but I do think the edible market is going to continue to grow. Along those lines, Colorado, the oldest legal market in the U.S., hit $2 billion in sales for 2020, and that does not include December. December numbers are not yet. So, in all of 2019, Colorado did $1.75 billion in sales. In 11 months, they eclipsed that by $250 million, hit the $2 billion mark in 2020. That's an astounding number. That Colorado just hit. And if you really think about that, number is even more amazing because the Colorado tourist industry was decimated in 2020 due to the lockdowns. Ski slopes were closed, resorts were closed. It was a tremendous loss to the state of travelers and tourists. And one has to imagine that if a couple million tourists were coming through Colorado every year, in addition to who already lives there, these numbers would have been significantly higher in 2020. So I think 2021 will probably blow away 2020 in Colorado. It's just the way the industry's going. So hope this was informational. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back soon with another one. Thank you.